Hello everyone, this is Angie at Chicken Scratch. Thank you so much for joining me today. These are the 3 projects that we're making using the Frame and Festive stamp set along with the framed florets dies. So we're making a Christmas card, a fun fold card, and this can be converted into a gift card holder, and then this cute little box that will hold Ghirardelli chocolates or also tea bags. If you would like to make these projects, I have a class packet available for a very short period of time, November 11th through 15th, when you place a minimum Stampin' Up! Order with me using this host code, $35 before tax and shipping. Remember, you have to use the host code to get this packet, okay? And if you have any questions, just let me know before you place your order. Okay, so this is actually what the class packet looks like, and there will be a free PDF with measurements over on my website and a box template. Okay, I hope you enjoy the projects. Okay, so now we're making this card, and it opens up like this. Now, one other thing that you can do is make this a gift card holder. So you can put a little bit of adhesive right here and right here, fold that over, and then you can slide a gift card in there. Okay, so here's the supplies. We're going to start with our card base, which is 4 1/4 by 11. I'm going to place it on the Simply Scored scoring tool, and I'm going to score it at 3 8 1/4. So 3 inches and 8 1/4. We're going to fold on the score lines and burnish with our bone folder. Okay, so that's how it looks right now. Here's the Designer Series paper that we're using. We're going to cut that. So we're going to cut this to measure 3 7/8. It started out measuring 4 by 6, so you're going to cut it down to measure 3 7/8. And then you need one piece that measures 2 5/8. And one piece that measures 2 3/8. So this is your leftover from that sheet, okay? Now we're going to attach the Designer Series paper to the basic white layers. I'm going to use my silicone craft sheet, and I'm using liquid glue. Okay, there's that one. Okay, there's our paper. Now for the inside, you're going to place this cardstock inside here. Okay, this piece here is for all the stamping of the flowers, and let's go ahead and do that. I'm using Memento ink, and let me open this up. So we're going to need 2 large flowers, 2 smaller flowers, and then 3 sets of the leaves. Whoops. So I'm going to start with a large one. We need 2 of those. Two small ones. And then, like I said, 3 sets of these. I made this measurement the same as the inside of the card so that you wouldn't get confused about which piece to use. And let's go ahead and stamp the greeting. It's going to go right there. So I'm going to open this back up. So now we're going to do some coloring. these are the markers we're using. Balmy Blue, the Light Soft Succulent, and we're actually using, so these are our blends, and I'm actually using the Stampin' Write marker for the Blushing Bride because we don't have a blend in this color. You could use some of the neutrals, but let this dry and then you can use this. And typically you're supposed to use Stays On with the Stampin' Write markers, but it will work. Okay, so I'm going to start with the leaves and Light Soft Succulent. Okay, so all of our coloring is done, and now we're going to die cut these. Now to save some time, I've gone ahead and die cut a few pieces. So I cut out that large one and that small one and this large one. So we're just going to die cut this one, and then I did go ahead and cut a couple of the leaves out also. So we're just going to cut out one blue flower and one of these. Okay, so I've got my blue flower here, my leaves here, and I'm going to place the die on there. And I will tell you that I usually have to spin the flower a couple times before I get it lined up exactly. Let's see, I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so here's our pieces that we just cut out. I'm going to move all this over. I can save this for a future project. Now we're ready to wrap up the assembly. Okay, so I've got my card base here. We are going to add these panels, and I'm just going to use my liquid glue. There we go. And now this one. Just want to make sure I cut everything right before I put the adhesive on there. Okay, so we only want to attach the oval to the top part of the card. And I'm going to use my silicone craft sheet to attach these layers. So I'm going to add the greeting right on top of the Blushing Bride. I laugh because, again, I almost call that the wrong color. Okay, there's that one. And then I'm going to attach these two together. That makes it just a little bit stronger. You don't have to do this, but I think I ended my sentence before I finished it. And I was just going to say that I think you'll like the results of doubling it up. And you want to make sure that you attach that so that it's the glue doesn't attach, down here on the bottom of your card. So double check and make sure that the glue clears that, and mine does. And then now I'm going to attach this. So only put adhesive up here at the top. And then we'll hold this for a second to dry. I'm going to use my Stampin' Dimensionals and my mini dimensionals to attach these. So we're going to start with this largest flower here, and I can use a larger one for that. So right there. I'm trying to get it exact. It looks like my card might be a little bit crooked. And then, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and put all the dimensionals on these. That way it will speed it up. Okay, so now we're going to start with, oh, already started with that one. So then we're going to take the smaller one and place it under there. Let's see, we want it to come down like that. And then we're going to take this one and add it here. Let's see. You could play with these flowers all day long, right? Now, we'll start with the large blue one down here. And then this one. You could also do these along the sides, so you don't have to do it exactly like I did it. Now for our embellishment, use whatever embellishments you have. These are the gold adhesive backed swirls. Okay, so row, run away. Put this one in the middle. And this one here. And then this one over here. Okay, so we have wrapped up this card. Okay, this is the card we're making now. Opens up just like that. And here's the supplies that will be in the packet. Okay, so this is Evening Evergreen. We're going to place it on the Simply Scored scoring tool, and we're going to score it at 4 1/4. Okay, just fold that over and burnish with your bone folder. Then we've got the inside layer here that's going to get attached with liquid glue. So I'm just going to get my silicone craft sheet here. Okay, that's done. Then we're going to take the basic white layer for the front and also add that with our liquid glue. We need to cut the Designer Series paper, so we'll do that now. Let me get the paper trimmer. Okay, we're going to cut this down to measure 3 1/2 by 4 3/4. So 4 3/4 by 3 1/2. And then we're going to take our Real Red Stampin' Blend marker and we're going to color in these berries. Let me uncover the card so that you can see it. Now we're going to add that to the basic white layer. And you know, this is the part that confuses me. Do you want the leaves going up or do you want the leaves going down? However you want. When I was making this card though, I was like, I don't know which way is the right way. So however you want to do it. Now we're going to take, when we're die cutting this, you get, you know, each piece. So we're using the basic white for the greeting and then the real red for that. These will be in your class packets. You can use these on the inside if you would like. So, or you can use them for a different project. So I'm going to add the ring first. So I'm just going to put a thin line of liquid glue. And place that in the middle. I'm just centering it. And then we want to stamp the greeting, so I'm using real red. Okay, we're going to give that a second to dry before we add it. Sometimes the red takes a little bit longer to dry, so I'm going to go ahead and tie the bow with this ribbon. Your class packet will include 11 inches of this, so you can see that gives you plenty for your card. And I'm going to start over. Sometimes I say if I talk when I tie, I mess up. There we go. Okay, back to this layer. We're just going to use our liquid glue again. You can pop this up if you want, but I didn't because of the little greenery here. So now we're going to add that. And you just want to place it so that it doesn't cover up, you know, the greeting. So I'm just going to put a little bit of liquid glue right in on the stem. And you know, I like bringing this a little bit closer so that when I add the bow, it's just below the greeting. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so we are going to add the bow with a mini glue dot, but I can tell that my bow came a little loose, so I'm just retrimming it. We're going to add it with a mini glue dot right there. And you can make it smaller if you want. Once you add it, just be careful. For this card, we're using the red rhinestones. The class does not include the embellishments, so you can use whatever you have in your possession. Even rhinestones would look good. You could use your Stampin' Blend markers to color them. And then one down here. Okay, so that wraps up this card. I hope you enjoyed it. Okay, now we're ready to make the box. This box will hold 2 Ghirardelli chocolates. It will also hold a tea bag, a couple tea bags. Okay, so here's the supplies. This is what's going to come in the class packet. And we're going to start with the stamping. So we've got these 2 basic white pieces that we're going to stamp. And we'll start with the flower. I'm using Memento ink. There's that. And then we're going to stamp the greeting with real red. All the supplies will be on the free PDF over on my website. The link will be in the description below if you're watching this video on YouTube. Okay, there's that. We're going to take the real red Stampin' Blend markers and color our flower. And guess what? I've gone ahead and cut this out using this die just to save a little bit of time. So I'm going to color the one that I cut out, so that way I don't have to get my die cut machine. So I'm going to start with the dark and just go around the edges. And now the light one. Okay, so we're done with the flower. Now to lift some of the color out, you can use the color lifter. So I'm just going to take that and just, okay, we're going to set that aside. This is not needed for this project, but since both of these pieces are cut out at the same time, we're going to include that in your class packet. Okay, so now we're going to cut our designer series paper. In the class packet, you get 4x6 sheets, and we're going to cut this down to measure 2 7/8. 2 7/8 by 3 1/4, and then 7/8. Okay. This is what's left over from that sheet. Okay, so here's all of our pieces right now. I'm going to set this aside, and we're going to work on the box now. Okay, this piece measures 4.5 by 8.5, and we're going to place it on the 4.5 inch side first and score it at 3/4 of an inch on both sides. So 3/4, and flip it around, and 3/4. Then on the 8.5 inch side, we're going to score it at 3 3/8, 4 1/8, and 7.5. Now we're going to score it again. We're leaving it right here, and we're going to score it at 1 7/8 only to this first score line. Okay, so 1 7/8, and then 5 5/8. And we want to do this on both sides on this orientation. So we're just going to flip it over and do the same thing. So score it at 1 7/8 only to that first score line, and 5 5/8 to that first score line. Okay, so let's fold on the score lines, burnish with our bone folder. There will be a free box template over on my website for this, okay? Now let's do some cutting. So notice that this top piece up here is the piece that folds over right there, okay? So that's the top of our box. This is the bottom. So we're gonna start down here, and we're gonna remove this block. And we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So again, this is the bottom of our box, or the bottom front, I should say. Then moving up, we're going to cut on this score line and this score line, and then angle cut these little tabs, and do the same thing on this side. So cut, cut, and then angle cut and angle cut. Then we want to cut on this next score line here and here. Okay, now we're going to cut from here all the way up. So fold that in, and then just cut all the way to the top. And we're going to do that on both sides. That's a little crooked. Okay, that's how it looks right now. We're going to place our adhesive on these two sections right here. So this is going to fold up like that. This is going to fold up, and this is the front. and this folds down just like that, okay? So I'm going to add my tear and tape to those 2 tabs. Okay. Okay, so we're going to take your pick tool and remove the backing, and we're going to do one side at a time. Okay, that's how it looks. And then over here, we're going to just remove the backing. And fold that over. Okay, so I've got 2 of the Intense Dark Ghirardelli chocolates, and they fit in there just like that. So now let's add our Designer Series paper. Okay, I'm going to use my silicone craft sheet to add glue to the back. And then now this small strip. Okay, so we're going to use liquid glue to attach our greeting. Okay, there's that. I'm going to use a mini dimensional to add the flower. Okay, I'm going to place that right there and then squash it a little bit. And then we're going to use liquid glue to attach the greenery, and I'm actually going to cut off the stem, most of it. Okay, so we'll start with this one, and sometimes it's just easier just to put a little bit of liquid glue on your mat and then brush it across, and that kind of gets glue where you need it. And I'm just going to hold that for a second. Okay, and then now this one. So it's like using a brush but not using a brush, right? To keep it closed, we're using the Real Red Ruffled ribbon. And I'm glad I didn't mess that up. Yeah, so Real Red Ruffled. It's a little challenging to tie the bow because the texture of the ribbon is very, well, I don't really know how to describe it, but I think it's cute, but the texture of it makes it sometimes difficult to tie. I didn't mess up. Yay! Okay, we're going to trim the ends. Whoops. Down here. And the last step is to add our embellishments. So once again, I'm using these gold adhesive backed swirls. They don't come in your class packet, but you can order them, or you can use rhinestones. Rhinestones look good on every project. Okay, there we have it. Isn't it cute? Okay, so that wraps up all 3 projects. If you would like to receive the class packet, here's the host code. You have until the 15th of November at midnight. And again, if you have any questions, let me know. And if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Have a great day. Bye.